welcome to another episode of Movers and Shakers of Paarl. Today, probably someone that doesn't really need an introduction in the Paarl community. I've got Celeste Martin here today. So why Celeste is here? Celeste Martin is the owner of CNS Photographers. She's a photographer, but there are a lot of photographers in Paarl, but Celeste seems to be busy in other spheres as well, keeping herself busy. Diversification is important. And so she's also just recently the owner of Photo First. I wanted to find out more about that. And then she also had an award recently at Radio KC for her show Evolve that she inspires on Evolve. And then she's also just someone that inspires and motivates. She's got that feel. So I just wanted to find out more about Celeste Martin. Celeste?
What an introduction.
Huh? No, there's still more.
No, please stop.
Madam, thanks for chatting to me.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you for inviting me.
Yeah, so, okay, first start with the award with Radio KC and what is Evolve all about?
I think I need to tell you more about Evolve.
Yeah.
So Evolve, I'm going to really summarize this.
Okay. Data's deal.
Yes, we're going back a few years,
Yeah.
2012, and I went through a divorce.
Okay.
And it was a very dark period for me. No, I felt no one understood me. I felt that I had to question. I questioned myself as a woman.
Yeah.
Who am I worth? Was I not good enough? And all of that. And I found myself stuck in silence. I literally just switched off from the world, and I had to find some kind of therapy for myself, because I didn't want to go for professional therapy. I was okay,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah, of course.
So what I did was I started writing, and I just started writing about my feelings and what I was going through, just to get it out, because I couldn't speak to anyone. And I realized that, you know, I had to break the silence, because I had so much to say, but I couldn't trust anyone at the time. So I just started writing. Long story short, over a few years, those writings were publicized. I told someone about it once, and he read one of the blogs.
Yeah.
And he said to me, Celeste, you need to publish. I said, no. So he published it on a UK platform anonymously. So changed name. So
Nice,
I think I was Katie Lang. Yes, I was
Okay.
Katie Lang. So they published it in the UK, and it got amazing reviews. I was
Nice.
overwhelmed.
Yeah.
So he encouraged me, said, Celeste, you need to post this. I said, no, it's not time yet. Anyways, I started a Facebook page, a very, very small Facebook page, and I just started posting daily quotes. But it was specific, it was gender specific, it was to uplift women.
Okay.
And then I started encouraging women to share their story based on my own story. But I realized I had to share my story. And I started sharing my story, not publicly, but just with a few girlfriends and that. And I really saw the result. I saw women getting hope. Women looking at me saying, but I never knew you went through that. Celeste, I didn't know that you started there. Celeste, all I see is you are this person and you're doing that and you're so successful and you're so happy and you're so this. But look at your story. So every person, not just women, every person has a story behind the glory. So that is where Evolve started. And when I realized that I could put something together in terms of a social media platform, I had to come up with a name. And Evolve, I started writing names down, or just a few ideas. And I wrote down the word Eve, because that was important to me. And I wrote the word, and I thought, what does Eve need? What does Eve want? What does the woman want?
Why
Love.
Eve? Why
Eve, the first woman in
Oh,
the
right.
Bible.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah.
So Eve, love, mix it up, get Evolve.
Wow.
Love
Interesting.
Eve. Yeah.
Interesting. Okay.
I had that moment when I was sitting with my
Wow,
I'm like,
that's
whoa,
amazing.
whoa.
Yeah,
And
that's
then
amazing.
in the logo, the O of Evolve, I wanted that to stand out, because that is the circle, you know, and that is the unity, women uniting. The circle has no ending, and us as women, we need to stand together in order to evolve. Now, the definition of evolve is growing and moving and progress. So just all tuned in together. So I quickly registered that name
of
in my
course.
name, and I quickly put something together. And I thought, okay, I'm just gonna let it simmer. I literally let it simmer. It was a social media platform. I then met a few influential people that encouraged me, or put me in touch with a local radio station, Radio KC. And the CEO said to me, Celeste, you need to put this thing on the radio. So it took a few months to eventually get it on the radio, because I had to really think about what my purpose was going to be. To take something like that, which is personal and private, you're encouraging women to share a lot of private things, right? So I had to apply strategic to it, but I also had to take it from a biblical perspective. I had to pray about it because I wanted this to come from the right core, not just something commercial and the fame and all the attention that I'm going to get from that. So it took a while, and then we launched it in May of 2018.
Okay.
And it's just evolved since then.
Nice,
just
man.
burst out of control.
Yeah.
Not out of control, but it's just done very well.
So when is the show, and when do you
Every
listen?
Wednesday night
Okay.
on Radio KC 107.7 FM at 8 o'clock. It's
Okay.
an hour slot. So we started with a half an hour slot.
Yeah.
And according to the radio station, there was a demand. People
Nice.
started asking, saying, just feedback from the listeners saying the time slot is now, because it was 6 o'clock, 6 to half past 6.
Okay.
That time people are still traveling home.
Yeah, and it's busy hour, rush hour.
And because it was woman specific, a lot of women said to me, Celeste, that time I'm still cooking and I'm still busy checking the homework. And so we changed the time slot to 8 o'clock, and it was so successful after that. 8 o'clock, because it's a much more relaxed time frame. And also it was extended to an hour. So I was completely pushed out of my comfort zone.
True.
I'm not trained to do this.
Yeah,
I'm
of
not
course.
trained to be, I'm not skilled to be a radio talk show host. But, I can just give God all the glory for that, because it just happened. They would show me things. They would show me the technical side of things. And I just got it. It just happened.
Right, so you do it
So
every week, once
every
a week?
Wednesday, it's
Nice.
live in studio.
Nice.
And I invite women from all walks of life.
Okay.
The well-known to the unknown.
Nice.
And literally, as the radio station's slogan goes, from Saran to Samondium. So it's
Okay.
not specific to just Paarl,
Paarl,
women in
yeah.
Paarl. It's across the board.
And you walked away with an award on Saturday?
Yes.
Hey?
Can you
Amazing.
believe it?
Yeah, so what was the award?
The award was for the best inspirational radio
Nice.
program
Okay.
on Radio KC of 2018. So I was very humbled by that, because I didn't expect it, one. And two, there's a lot of other good shows on the
course,
radio. And because Evolve is so young.
And it's just started,
But I can just be very thankful. Our community is so supportive. And women are hooking into the movement. They're hooking onto the idea, and they are supporting it, which is fantastic, because it's creating a positivity in the community, which really fills my heart. It is so humbling.
Yeah, because like this year, I was always wondering where all the men in Paarl, because all the women are having high teas and motivational talks and business breakfast. I'm like, where the men? What are we doing?
But you should do something.
Yeah, okay, we'll see what happens.
You should do
in
a
2019.
low coffee. If we're doing high teas, we must do a low coffee.
Or a beer and dry.
Or something like that. Whatever works for you guys.
So tell me something. I see also that you first started in hospitality in hotel. So how do we move from hospitality, from matric to hospitality to photography?
Matric, Glen Edinburgh,
Okay.
senior secondary.
Highlights of the high school. Any highlights?
I was the tomboy. Was in a lot of fights.
Okay, that's a highlight. Yeah. Okay, cool.
I was very wild.
Yeah.
And my parents at the time said to me, "So moet gaan."
Okay, you said,
They told me. I was 17, 18. They said, "So moet gaan." So they gave me options: nursing. There was anything that was in service: nursing, hospitality, and I think there was I can't remember the third one, but it was 3 things.
Okay.
So I looked at these options, and I wanted to be interior decorator.
Okay.
I wanted to study interior decorating because I have this creativity in my personality. And my parents said, "So moet gaan." I can remember those words. But long of the short, I was accepted in to my internship, my in-service training through Protea Hotels at the time.
Okay, nice.
So which became Marriott now recently. Protea Hotels offered me a permanent position at the time. So I stayed with them, and I worked for Protea Hotels for 10 years.
Wow, that's long. Which Protea Hotel? But you
Many,
all over,
yes.
All right,
So I worked at the President Hotel,
Okay.
which is a 400-bedroom hotel in Bantry Bay. I opened the Protea Hotel North Wharf at the time, which is just in the foreshore, just behind the Cullinan Hotel, Southern Sun, like a red building. We opened that hotel, many years ago. I can't even remember when.
Yeah, but 10 years is long.
Yeah,
Hospitality.
can you believe it? I've got 10 years of Protea behind me.
Wow, it's amazing.
Plus another 4 years with the Singer Hospitality Group.
Okay.
And they are, I actually in my training, because when I did North Wharf, after North Wharf, I was appointed as the front office manager for Crystal Towers Hotel and Spa.
Nice.
So that was prior to opening, and that was a wonderful experience. Walking into a job and you have a construction site, hard hats, and
Oh, wow,
setting
that's
it
cool
up
from the
so I was
beginning.
part of the opening team there.
Nice.
The first 5-star hotel for Protea Hotels at the time.
Nice.
And it was absolutely amazing. So I did my front office management there. I was promoted, and then I moved just next to, in that Central City complex, there's the Protea Hotel Coliseum.
Yeah.
So I was promoted to deputy general manager at the time, and 9 months into the job, I get promoted to general manager. My first general
Wow.
manager position at Dolphin Beach Hotel out in Blouberg. Now, can you imagine 9 months into a new position,
Yeah.
and then suddenly, oh, Celeste, you got
Yeah.
promoted. I
You're
was
just starting to get to know the business.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I felt my work was not done yet, but once again, power of association. I had a very good relationship with the owners, and I was obedient. Because in a job, you have to be obedient and you carry out instructions. And they they liked my flame. They liked my wildness, but they liked the fact that I was also disciplined, but I had a creative side of me as well.
Okay.
So I went in and I managed that hotel for about 3 years, general manager.
Oh, okay.
And I literally one day drove to work, stopped in the parking lot, called my dad and said, "Ek gaan bedank vandag."
Yeah. What do you think the one characteristic is in you that makes you move so fast up in the ranks or climb the ladder? What do you think is one characteristic? If you had to ask yourself, why did I move so fast?
Fear of failure.
Okay. Wow.
Fear of failure.
So you overcompensate, you work harder,
Yes.
you learn more.
More in, and I do whatever I can. And I've seen it in a personal capacity and in a work capacity where I just don't give up. And it becomes to a point where it annoys me because I get frustrated with myself because now I can't achieve something, I go back. I fail, I get hurt, I go back. And it's I said to someone the other day, I said it can be at my detriment, but it can also have massive results, positive results.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it just needs that energy. It just needs to be tuned into the correct channels. Then it will work perfectly. You know, imagine it was tuned into drug abuse.
Yeah. Yeah, of course, yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, I think that is the characteristic. Just that fear of failure
Yeah.
and fear of disappointment because my parents are really my life. I am so close to them and we have such a close bond. And just making your parents proud is such a wonderful
Every
feeling.
kid, yeah.
Yeah.
When did the photography bug
The photography
because I
bug
think that's
kicked
when
in,
you...
yes, the bug kicked in while I was working at the hotel. We had a need for good quality images for the hotel's website.
Okay.
I was sourcing quotes all over and it was just ridiculously expensive.
Wow.
So I thought, let me buy a camera and I'll do the photos. There's a need, the hotel needs, so I'll buy a camera. So I bought my first camera and I started taking the hotel's photos. Not telling anyone I was taking the photos. So I did product photography.
Yeah.
And I downloaded editing programs, free editing programs offline, went on YouTube and started teaching myself and watching tutorials about white balance and all of that. And submitted the images to the web developer and he was so impressed.
Okay, nice.
Shit, these images are wonderful. And I just let it there.
Yeah.
So I said, no, someone I know.
Yeah.
Someone I know. And the hotel's website just got such good reviews about these photos. The owners were impressed and I told them, look, I took the photos. I couldn't believe it. And then that bug just bit. And then I just started exploring, and very small families. There's a function, there's a birthday party, can I take the photos? Or go to that party with my camera.
Nice.
So it started very small. It started with my family. My family, just me going to a kiddies party with my camera saying to my cousin, can I take the photos? And then posting it on Facebook. And then my sister one day says to me, Celeste, you need to start a page on Facebook.
Why? You know what is funny? Why does it always cost someone to tell you what you know? It's like you do it.
Exactly. But at the time, I had a permanent job. And I had no intent to promote the images, to sell them.
Okay,
there was
right.
no need for me to generate that income. I was
Okay.
doing it for fun. My sister said, just post it so people can see it. I started a page. I remember I called it Celeste and Sun Photography first.
Okay.
And then after a while I thought, oh no, I have a permanent contract, so I need to
Yeah.
protect my job.
Yeah.
I can't do Celeste and Sun Photography, so I changed it to CNS Photography.
Okay, wow.
And started posting the pictures. But my owners were fine at the time. I told them about the page and they were okay with it because they knew it was my passion. And one morning I literally just woke up and I decided this is what I want to do. There was, it was not an impulsive decision.
Yeah.
There was a plan. I had a goal to
Okay.
become an entrepreneur at the age of 30.
Okay.
I was just before I turned 30. I thought, sure, I'm just going to do this. So my cousin, when I told him, he asked me the one day, he said, what did you do? You resigned from such an amazing job and, you know, a life of abundance, and how? What? To do what? Take photos?
Yeah.
He couldn't believe it. When I explained to him why I did it, he said to me, sure, that takes a lot of, you know, it takes a lot of guts. And he called it pulling the trigger. I wrote a blog about it after a while. So that is what I package it as, pulling the trigger. It's just taking that leap of faith, jumping off a cliff, knowing that what you want to do, but just learning how to fly on your way down. And luckily, I planned for my resignation. Financially, I planned a few years before that. I started saving money, knowing that I have a goal to become an entrepreneur at the age of 30. So when I reached close to that 30, I decided, look, it's now time to pull the trigger. So I resigned from my job. My owners offered me the moon and the stars, and I said to them, look, it's time to evolve.
Need to follow my passion.
Yes.
Yeah, cool.
And you know what? If I think back now, my dream was to become an entrepreneur. And I said to my owners at the time, if I can make millions for the hotel, I can make thousands for myself.
Correct. Wow.
And I wanted, and because also that time, it's all, the evolve also was in that period where I felt in bondage. I felt caged. I had a job, go to work, come home, go to work, come home. Yes. And I traveled a lot, Johannesburg, and I had a desire to come back home. I wanted to come back home to Paarl. I went through this divorce. I was alone in Cape Town. I wanted to come home. And that was my goal. Come back home, come back to Paarl, and establish my brand in Paarl.
And CNS was?
CNS was started, I worked from home.
Okay.
For a very long time. And it got to a stage where I took over my parents' home.
Okay.
And then the last year it got to a stage where my parents said the same thing they said when I was 17. Fatih pisagit, 8. Because there was photos and orders everywhere. So now you can imagine it's a homely environment. So now there's photo. Don't drink cool drink. Don't touch them. You know, and we just couldn't live like that anymore. So my parents said, Celeste, no, it's time to go. And my dad's attitude was, you know, if you want to grow your business, you're only going to earn the capacity that you are currently in. That is your limit. So whatever your salary is at the moment, that is what you have capacity to produce. But if you extend your business outside of the house, it will grow. People will see it.
So true.
So yeah, I was once after a few years. They said go again. So I took the business outside of the house, and it just.
Oh, but you opened the studio this year as well?
Yes, in January. So much happened this year.
Exciting 2018, eh?
Gosh, it just so. Next year I want to rest.
No, you actually have to carry
my
on.
dad said on my birthday in November, came to wish me the whole morning. He said to me, "My kind, kan jy net my een guns doen asseblief? Hou op besighede koop." Stop. He said, stop. Now, just relax. So I really just next year want to, you know, just relook at my picture. And I'm not going, you know, the idea this year, my goal was to grow the business. That was my goal this year.
And you've achieved it.
And I've ticked a few boxes.
How did Photo First happen? What?
Photo First, I was approached once again, the Power of Association. So where you connect with the people you connect. So I met the owner of Photo First in another meeting, a business forum meeting. And he was telling me that someone, he's talking to my sister, he's telling me that, I'm lying, it's another person that told me that, but they're talking to me about me.
Okay.
Because the person didn't know
it's you.
It's me.
All right.
So they said, you know, we're really trying to get hold of this woman.
Wow.
And she's a photographer in Paarl.
No
and we want to sell this business, and she's the right person. And this person said to me, don't you know who's this woman? And they give me the name, and I just stand there and I just laugh.
That's insane.
We were in Bosch and Mia at a business breakfast meeting.
What?
And I said to the person, yeah, I know her quite well. Very well.
That's insane.
So that's how that connection, so it was a divine connection. I literally picked up, I said, okay, who's the owner? Who's the current owner? They gave me a name and a number. That's all I had. I went to my landline, picked up the phone, called the guy, and I said, I'm Celeste Martin. Can we talk? We started talking, started negotiating. It was a long process. And yeah, the final signature was in October.
Wow.
So we still kept it quiet purely
Yeah.
because there was a lot of legalities that we had to wait on, and registration and that. But also we wanted the transition from change in ownership to be as smooth as possible for the staffing, and give them the peace of mind that everything is okay, because you know what happens when you change ownership,
of course.
and people become worried.
Am I going to
because
have
of
a job?
Yes.
Yeah.
So I said, look, we need to consider that priority.
Wow.
So having to keep my parents quiet was very challenging, because
very
they just
excited.
wanted to.
Yeah.
I said, no, let's just wait till November.
Okay.
So I had a lot of press and media wanting to do something on it, and I said, look, I'm not doing it for the applause.
Yeah.
You know, there's a cause here.
Yeah.
I was exposed to a fantastic opportunity, which I never knew I was capable of achieving, to be honest. When we started the negotiation, I thought, where do I get that kind of money?
It's a dream. Yeah.
I burst out laughing.
Yeah.
And I remember talking to another business associate, and I said, waar gaan ek die geld kry? Where? How? But things just
Worked out.
Things worked out, and the transaction was successful, and the owners were really, they actually, usually you go and you do a purchase to offer.
Yeah.
But the roles were changed there, because
Okay.
they wanted me to buy the business.
Willing seller. Yeah.
Because the business was owned by a company that owns the Photo First brand.
Wow.
Right?
Okay.
So they wanted to sell the business but retain the
The branding. Yeah.
So we had to enter into a franchise agreement, because then they still have their brand in Paarl.
Correct.
Right? So, but they were really specific. They wanted to sell the business to a photographer.
Nice.
Because obviously.
Yeah, of course.
So I was,
amazing.
I felt so favored when that opportunity.
So do we have the studio, and are you keeping both? How does it work?
Yes,
Okay.
at the moment, because that everything happened. Photo First was not planned for, so that obviously kind of threw my things around. So I just want to get through what we call peak season at the moment. And January, I want to look at the drawing board and just look at the organogram and how the businesses, fit into each other and what we're going to do.
So tell me a bit more about Celeste. So what you do when you're not taking photos, when you're not on Radio KC? Of course, you spend more time with your son.
Yes,
Okay.
I have a 7-year-old son.
Right.
And it's photography.
Best balance ever.
I can't even take a photo of him.
Wow,
With my cell
okay.
phone. He hates it.
Okay.
Doesn't
nice.
like it. He's a very private child.
Yeah.
He likes his privacy. He likes to play independently. He's also in a private independent school. So, they are kind of groomed to be independent and do things by themselves. But he wants just time with me. And that's also very special to me, because it's Celeste's son. That's our plan. And so when I'm not taking photos and I'm not busy managing the businesses.
Huh? Amazing.
It's still sinking in.
But that's amazing. I mean, it's within 11 months?
Yeah.
From having not one, but not having two, what you call it, facilities or offices,
And
to having two.
Evolve, growing from a social media platform to an award-winning
Amazing.
radio show. Really overwhelming.
Yeah.
And I am, the one thing I pray for on a regular basis is for God to keep me grounded.
No, of course.
So that I'm always humble, and that none of these, all of these overwhelming successes doesn't go to my head.
Yeah.
Because to me it's important to stay grounded, and I think that's also a recipe of success.
If someone had to ask you, your person you look up to, who is a successful woman? The person you look up to, the person that motivates you, inspires you, who is it?
The woman that I look up to is Sophie Carnegie. I recently had her on the.
Oh, but
on the
doesn't
program.
she has a school here?
Yes. She
Carnegie
owns,
House?
Yes.
All right,
she
cool.
owns Carnegie House. That woman ticks all the boxes.
Wow, okay, nice.
And I have so much respect for her, because our relationship is not just a parent-school relationship, because my son is at the school.
All right.
But we also have a business agreement, because I do a lot of work for the school as
nice.
well. So we have a business agreement, we have a friendship, an association, and a mom. And what I respect about that woman is that she runs an organization between Rubik and Paarl.
Correct.
So she runs, and it's well-oiled. She has employed really fantastic educators to run her establishments. But she is the most humble person ever. She gives me advice. If I've cracked many times in front of her.
Okay.
I remember the one day I was in front of the school and my son just had a bad day.
Yeah.
He just had a bad day. But I had a meeting I had to get to.
Yeah.
So he starts crying because he doesn't want to go to school. He wants to stay with me, which rarely happens. And I can't get him to just go to school that day. And I'm standing there talking. And she walks in, but she's on her way to office. And she sees this. And she says, Celeste, are you okay? And I'm still talking to my son. And she intervenes and she talks to him. She calms him down. And he walks into the school mildly and calmly, and he's like, okay, bye, mommy. And she turns to me, she says to me, are you okay? I said, no, I'm not okay. And then I cracked. I said, I'm not okay. I'm late for my meeting and I can't do this anymore. And we literally sat on the sidewalk in front of the school for about an hour.
That's so cool.
And she just listened. She listened. Whatever I had to say at that point, she listened. And I cried. And she motivated. She said, okay, right? Pull yourself together. Do this, do that. It's okay to not be okay. It's okay to crack. It's okay to cry. Because sometimes you put so much pressure on yourself. And I just have the utmost respect for her. Wow. She's really an amazing woman. She's a good businesswoman, mother, wife. She ticks all the boxes.
Nice.
So I look up to her. She is, she's a scientist.
Wow.
She
didn't know that.
Yes.
Very
She's
interesting.
a qualified scientist.
Very interesting.
So she's very intelligent. And she applies business strategy to her establishment, and she loves the children and her parents. You know, that is her source of income, so she looks after them. And that has really taught me to look after my customers, the customers and the staff. That is very important in any business. So I have a lot of respect for her. Yeah.
So where do people see Celeste? What platforms are you on? Do you have a website?
You know, at this point in time, my life is so public at the moment that I don't even want to share this information.
No, it's
want to go in hibernation. Okay,
so next year we'll go in hibernation. Yes.
So CNS Photography is based at the Paarl Shopping Centre.
The spa. Yeah,
Spa.
Correct.
Charleston Hill.
Right. So what happens there? Is that where you take
what
photos?
Happens there? That
shoots?
Is where the magic of CNS Photography happens.
Right.
So we specialize in school photography. So I'm mostly on the road visiting schools, and weekends we do functions, weddings, 21st and. The business has grown where there's 4 photographers appointed to assist with, especially the leisure bookings, because I can't, you know, if I'm doing schools from Monday to and then
weekends you want off for these?
I would like to go to the mall on a Saturday morning.
Where some people hate
buy
it.
my groceries.
You want to do it.
Yes, I don't want to be taking photos on a Saturday and a Sunday.
True.
But and then there's also CNS Photography. So that office is split in 2. So there's CNS Photography, which is the photography. So just arranging and coordinating the run sheets, the logistics, who's picking up the driving deliveries and packages in this school and that school, because it's thousands of packages. Course. So the one section of the shop is just for packaging.
Wow. And
then the other side of the shop is Shop 26, because I had to register that as an independent company. So Shop 26 is what the shop does. Invitations.
Wow.
Wedding stationery.
Wow, okay.
So all of that. So we've got CNS Photography and Design there. Right. And then I also have a managing and marketing company. So I have a few...
what's the name of this marketing?
It's called CNS Marketing and Management.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
So my office, that office is home-based, right? So when I do CNS Marketing and Management work, I have service level agreements with funeral undertakers where I assist them with designing of the booklets and the social media brands.
They need a lot of help with that,
Yeah. So I've been bringing beauty in abundance to some of the booklets in the Paarl community. So I hope that the Paarl community has seen an upgraded booklets. So I work with about 4 well-known undertakers in Paarl.
Nice.
And I really enjoy it.
Yeah.
And we also do the photo print on the candle, which is a top seller. I can't keep up. So I'm going to add this to my... Listen to this. We extended our house.
Yeah.
The bra area has become a candle making section. It's also an Evolve project where we upskill underprivileged women in the Paarl East area. So I have four to five women. They're making candles. They make candles
Well done,
in my
madam.
dad's braai
That's
area.
so cool. Wow.
So we bought in the stock from Johannesburg and we get the wax in,
Wow.
and I watch YouTube tutorials.
Yeah, of course.
And then I taught them. So it's part of the. So we had a Evolve Haiti recently, and we had the handmade candles, scented candles, different on the tables for guests to, with a little quote to say these were handmade by a woman.
Wow.
And it's creating. So they can make the candles. They make the candles, and depending on the size,
Yeah.
I give them the stock. I give it to them
Yeah.
to go sell it.
Wow.
Yeah, to go sell it. That's
So you like,
how they
you're
generate an
bringing
income.
glamour into funerals.
Yes.
Huh?
Yes.
Wow. That is
Bringing
so
beauty
cool.
and abundance
Yeah.
because it's a lasting memory. A candle is so special.
Yeah, true. No,
If
true.
you've lost someone, it's so special. You can light the candle when you miss that person.
I can't go on your show because I'm a man, eh?
I want you on the show. I've said to you, I want to invite you on the
I
show.
thought it's only females.
No, but females listen, and we like, I was challenged
Okay.
a month ago to put a man on the show, to bring men into the show.
Yeah.
So that's the plan
Okay.
for January,
Alright.
to start the year with a twist and have men on the show, because
Okay.
we want to understand men, the
You-
evolving woman. Look,
Okay, we don't have time for that conversation.
we want to hear
Yeah.
how you.
Wired.
Yes, we want to understand you, because by having a man on the show, talking about what a man sees in a woman, what a man wants in a woman, there's value to the woman.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
You'll be my first guest.
I need to hear what the other guys are saying.
You're a trendsetter.
No, we broke out. I must hear what they're saying first, so we can keep the same conversation going. I don't want to be the first one
You
to say,
see?
what's that guy saying?
You see, our men just want to be in tune with each other.
Yeah,
What did you say? Okay,
yeah.
let's stick to the same.
Yeah, we need a script. These are the questions, these are the answers, and you stick
No,
to it.
this is unscripted, so Evolve will be unscripted.
Okay, cool. Now we can chat in the new year.
Yes, absolutely.
But madam, I think before we go, can we play 30 seconds?
Yes. Oi.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. You of course played this already.
Yes, I played this.
And you've practiced already. So this is the kiddies one. I don't have the adult one. The adult one takes too long. Why are you laughing already?
Because my mouth has no control.
It's unscripted.
Unscripted. Okay.
Take in the middle. I have the timer. I'm sure it's going to be very easy. Are we ready? Go.
Okay. It's the sharpness of a rose.
The thorn.
Yes. It's the organ that you use to breathe.
Lungs.
Yes. It is sweet and pink and swirly and
Ice cream.
no, it's not wet.
Candy floss.
Yes.
Okay.
Sure. Okay. It's an animal and it has stripes.
Zebra.
Yes. And it's a movement.
Zebra crossing.
Yes, you know the answer.
No.
I don't know the last story.
You have to explain to me. You have time.
I don't even know what it is.
You sure?
I don't know what it is.
Okay, let me see. What is it?
What is it?
Oh, Alsatian, a dog.
What is that? Oh, it's a dog.
That-
What dog?
The
You
dog
get a
that the
dog?
police use.
Oh.
That one. That one.
Well, clearly, I'm not into dogs.
No, that one. Okay, wait. I'm going to take one out and you turn around.
Okay,
That was good.
right.
Okay,
Let's go.
right. When you're not awake, you.
Sleeping.
Right. We have the king that sells us fruit on the floor. You can draw them. You read on top. Red. Red.
Clown.
It's a fruit.
A fruit.
Red.
Red.
Green on top.
Strawberry.
Yeah,
Green-
strawberry. When you look into a window, you see your.
Reflection.
Correct. Earth and Mars and Venus is a.
Planet.
Right. And the last one is that part where you give everything to the person that gave birth to you as a special thing.
Birthday.
No, the other one. Specifically for her.
Mother's Day.
There we go. I
Nice.
can't say day and I can't say mother. So. Madam, thanks so much.
Wonderful. Thank you so much.
That was fun.
Yeah, it was.
That was my quickest 30 seconds that we've done.
Really?
Mm.
Wonderlijk.
So thanks so much for chatting to me.
Thank you for inviting
Good
me.
luck, first of
Thank
all,
you.
for 2019,
Yes.
because 2018 seems you've got everything under the belt. Let's wait for that CNS group of companies. Prettiest building in Paarl.
Wonderful.
That's the
Beauty
dream.
in abundance. That's the dream, yeah.
Yeah.
And I'll take it.
Thanks, madam.
Don't challenge me. You see
No.
what happens when I get challenged.
So you fail failure, so you're going to start it on 1st of January, you're going to start looking for
Oh
building.
my goodness.
But we'll chat in January.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for
yeah.
your time.
Thank you. It was great being here.
Thanks, madam.